Welcome to Unleashed Opinion, boldly challenging the powers that be while keeping liberals in their place with conservative ideals and common sense solutions.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Unleashed Opinion. We are live and worldwide once again.
Ho, 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 baby. Santa Deacon's in the house.
Oh, boy. Yep. Chucklehead's here.
That's right.
Hey, we got Bob Smith and Dan Lanning out there. Hey, your phone's on here, too. You're watching this, too. So, outstanding. Hey, big thank you out to our men and women in the armed services doing what you do, keeping our country free and safe.
God love them, man.
Absolutely.
Every damn one of them.
Putting your life and your family's life on hold. It's a big sacrifice, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Especially, we want to thank everybody out there in our law enforcement community, our first responders. What you guys do is an absolutely fantastic job, and we're also here for you.
Yeah, you betcha.
The Stoke Man is watching.
Yes, he is. Big thank you to John and our listeners out there, the people in the garage on Route 125.
Them guys are animals.
The Fulton County Connection.
People over there at the Western Illinois Correctional Center, we love you guys. We've been there. We've done that. So
yeah, we got another retiree coming up here pretty quickly, too.
That's right. Jim Blazing. Congratulations, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, one thing I got to start with is I spewed some numbers out there last week. We're just a little bit off.
You had some miscalculations, Steve.
I did.
Come on.
I got to rescind some of the numbers that had to do with high-speed rail. In fact, my numbers were so bad that I'm expecting a job offer from a governmental budget office.
There you go.
Or CNN.
Yeah. So what the hell? They don't care either.
Exactly. What you got for something positive there?
Well, what I have got, Zeke too. That's right, Timmy Zeke.
Woo. Yeah, that's
He's
right.
Gonna retire. Well, you know about Gary Sinise and everything that he does for a military person.
Right, he's outstanding.
Fantastic guy. We got a little deal here. It's in connection with the Gary Sinise Foundation. Since 2001, 2 million American children have had at least one of their parents deployed while serving in the military. Many of these parents lose their lives in combat and never return. This is where Forrest Gump star Gary Sinise comes in with his Snowball Express program. This is reported by the USA Today. As part of the Gary Sinise Foundation, Snowball Express was created for Gold Star families to feel remembered and for them to see that they are not alone. Gary Sinise says, "It's something I feel incredibly important for our nation, letting the children know that we do not forget their sacrifices and we honor them. And it's such a great feeling to see them healing, smiling, and having fun." Each December, the Snowball Express flies more than 1,000 Gold Star children from around the country to Disney World on American Airline flights. So, we got to give American Airlines a little props there, too.
Mm-hmm.
This year's trip, with more than 100 children who lost a parent in combat, departed on Monday from Nashville International Airport, and the scene was a tearjerker, apparently. Jen Tringale was at the airport and said of the moment, "When they announced him over the loudspeaker and they lined up to board the plane, the whole airport literally stopped and sang the national anthem with military present in salute."
Really awesome.
Absolutely. Most every person standing around, myself included, was bawling at the sight of these kids and spouses who have paid so great a price for our country. To see all of this at Christmas time was so humbling. Seeing the general public in an airport and still to honor these kids was simply beautiful. On Sunday, Sinise saw off another Snowball Express flight departing from Los Angeles. He'll be joining the kids later in the week. He said, "I'll join up in a few days. Have fun, kids. We love you." And this is just another fantastic thing that Gary Sinise is doing out there. So
he is an awesome guy.
There are actors out there with a lot of good morals and a lot of good characteristics, and we just want to thank him for everything he's done.
He's been outstanding for quite some time.
Stokes says he wants to give a shout out to the nurses and doctors. Countless hours they put in. Yes,
absolutely.
We do agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I got a little video here of this guy. His name is Joe Everson. He does a little painting while he's singing the national anthem. And let's take a look at this. Pretty interesting. Anyway, he's singing the national anthem and painting at the same time, which I can't paint or sing. Here we go.
Professional sports teams, Fortune 500 companies, and celebrities. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem sung and painted by artist and vocalist Joe Everson.
Oh, say, can you see the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Lady Liberty, baby. That
You
is
betcha.
fantastic.
That is awesome. That's the second one of those I've seen him. He's outstanding job.
We can't even chew gum and walk at the same time,
No.
and he can do that.
Ladies
Sing.
and gentlemen, John
Singing and painting at the same time. I'll guarantee I'll wear a lot more paint than he does
There's
if
no
I can
doubt
do
about
something like
that.
that. Hey, we got
No doubt.
we got Vaughn Clark and Nicole's out there again this evening
What?
too. All right,
Vaughn Clark?
Yeah.
What up there, Doty Butt Muncher?
Wow.
Well, you know how it goes. It's River Bottom Doty and the Butt Ass Band. We have here another pretty good deal. It says pioneering precision laser beam that zaps impossible to treat brain tumors is used on the first British patient, which is fantastic. It says a new precision laser beam that heats and obliterates previously inoperable brain tumors has been used on the first British patient. Father of one Pablo Casabuenas had his aggressive and deep-seated tumor treated with the laser in October after being told he only had a year to live. Now he says he's living life again. It involves a fine narrow tube being inserted into the tumor before a laser is beamed down, gradually heating up to about 70 degrees Celsius, breaking down and killing the cancerous cells. Real-time MRI images of the brain are sent to the computer screen, allowing surgeons to monitor where the laser is working. Studies found that this pioneering laser procedure also doubles survival time, from 5 to 11 months for patients with inoperable brain tumors. It also provides an alternative to aggressive chemotherapy or radiotherapy, yes, absolutely, which can further damage the sensitive brain tissues. Not only that, but just destroys your freaking white blood cell counts. Hundreds of brain tumor patients are being denied surgery every year because of the damage it can cause to surrounding healthy tissue. But the laser, which is called Visualase, is so precise that it can treat aggressive, hard-to-reach brain tumors with minimal damage. Often patients go home the following day compared to a 10-day hospital stay after conventional brain surgery.
Wow.
So
That's pretty awesome.
that is freaking fantastic.
Betcha.
man.
That is a good deal.
Heck yeah. They say the chemotherapy helps, but I don't know. It just seems to destroy a patient's immune system so freaking bad that I don't know if they have time to heal and stuff. But
Yeah, it's a rough way to go.
hello, Nicole.
And Jody Parrish is out there
Jody.
too.
Yeah, what up, Jody? Saw a picture of you on Facebook today from your high school days.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I hope there's none of mine out there.
Oh, there was at one time. Remember, I put one out there.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm good like that.
Yeah, I know. This is from the Tucson Sentinel. We hit this last week a little bit. Arizona's highest court is set to decide whether the Phoenix law aimed at prohibiting businesses from discriminating against the LGBTQ people violates the state's constitution. The case centers on two Phoenix business owners who say designing wedding invitations for same-sex couples goes against their religious beliefs. They argue Phoenix non-discrimination ordinance requires them to do that, thereby violating their First Amendment rights as free speech. Joanna Duca and Brianna Koski, who run Russian Nibble Studios, said they have no qualms about serving gay people, but designing a wedding invitation that condones same-sex marriage would go against their beliefs that marriage is only between a man and a woman. The Alliance Defending Freedom, a Scottsdale conservative advocacy group, is representing Duke and Koski before the Arizona Supreme Court. The case is preemptive and does not involve an actual incident. Earlier this year, the Arizona Court of Appeals ruled against the two women and upheld Phoenix ordinance. The rules should go the same way for other people, said attorney Jonathan Scruggs of the Alliance. Government should not be forcing an LGBT web designer to create a website criticizing same-sex marriage or for church, or to force a Muslim printer to create pamphlets promoting synagogues' religious services. So here we've got this ordinance is making this business do something against their religious beliefs, which
Again, attacking constitutional rights.
yes, it is. So why is the government getting involved with a business like this? I mean, they're not breaking any laws other than this ordinance, which is kind of asinine anyway. But
Well, this is the type of stuff that makes Santa Robin very upset. You know, here we have a constitution guaranteeing our freaking rights. We should not have to be forced by our government to do things that we do not want to do, especially when it involves our deep-seated religious or Christian beliefs.
right,
You know, just like the cake bakers
exactly.
who were forced to do all that and got a lawsuit put on them. I don't remember how that ever came out.
I don't recall.
You know, and just because these people don't want to make something for the LGBT, whatever the community is, doesn't mean they hate them.
No,
But, if
they-
it goes against my beliefs, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs that the city is pushing towards us. And if they're found guilty of this, I'm assuming there'll be a trial rather than going through the due process, which in some cases we don't see.
Speaking of due process,
Yeah, they get 6 months in jail, $2,500 fine, and 3 years probation. Okay, now here's my point with this. Well, I got a couple actually. The first one we hit.
I bet you do.
Let's compare this to Dick's Sporting Goods and Walmart, who will not sell assault-style weapons, which I'm sure they don't even know what an assault-style weapon is.
What about an assault-style hammer?
Yeah.
Because if I smack you in a cranium with it, isn't that
It's
an
an assault weapon, yes. High-capacity magazines or sell long guns to people under 21 years of age. Now, this is in the Constitution. You have the right to keep and bear arms, right? But these two entities here, these two businesses, say, no, we're not selling assault-style weapons or high-capacity magazines. How is that different from this invitation that these girls here don't want to print out for a same-sex couple? What is different with that? But it seems to be okay with our government people for Dick's and Walmart to do this, because what Dick's or Walmart, their higher ups seem to think it's morally wrong to do this. And
Well, it's not faring very well for Dick's Sporting Goods because they are on the rapid decline.
that's too bad. I don't feel
But
sorry
this is just
for 'em.
another invasion of the government into our freaking private lives and into our freaking businesses, telling us what we have to do. And it's wrong. It's bull crap, and it needs to be stood up against.
Absolutely. What happened to you go into places and there's a sign on the wall that says, we refuse the right to serve anyone.
Absolutely.
What happened to that?
If your dumbass doesn't want to come in here with a shirt and shoes on, you want your pants dragging down over your butt, you're not coming in. And it's plain and simple. But I bet if they filed a lawsuit, they would have to do that now.
Yeah.
Oh, come in and show off your buttocks. It really makes me want to eat something.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You have a different view of things than I do. Hey, we got Brett out there, Brandy Richards, Lynn Johnson.
Right.
All right.
Gosh. Speaking of that due process thing, we have students out at the University of Southern California, believe it or not, demanding that a professor be fired because he defended due process.
Yeah, and then didn't this article come about? Was an email he sent out? Is that what it was?
Well-
He sent out an email.
Let me go here.
Okay.
Earlier this semester, the Professor James Moore came under fire after he decided to defend due process rights for those accused of sexual assault. Moore sent an email to his academic department expressing his thoughts about the state of discourse surrounding due process in the context of sexual misconduct allegations. Email was inspired by the Christine Blasey Ford congressional hearings that were taking place at the time. If the day comes you are accused of some crime or tort of which you are not guilty, and you find your peers automatically believing your accuser, I expect you to find yourself a stronger proponent of due process than you are now, he wrote in his email. Dozens of students immediately called for Moore to be terminated. They organized a group to protest and called on the administration to take action. Professor James Morris created a hostile environment.
Oh my God.
Yes. In which
By wanting due process.
yeah, but wanting due process, which many survivors of sexual assault do not feel safe. If you feel as we do, this is unacceptable, and that USC must take action to remove this man from his position of power. Join us in this protest. No, I don't think so. Hey, Smitty and I will tell you right here that, if anybody is found guilty of sexual assault, we would just rather beat him with a frickin' claw hammer. There's no doubt about it. But our Constitution guarantees due frickin' process. And as you've seen with the Judge Kavanaugh hearings and apparently with this right here.
Duke lacrosse players.
Yeah, the Duke lacrosse players who were found not guilty, correct?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. They don't want due process. Why would you not want due process?
Because at some point in time, you're going to be accused of something you didn't do. There's a real good chance of that, unless you just stay home, out of sight, out of mind. Something's going to happen. You're going to be accused of something you did not do, and you're going to have to say, whoa, I can tell you what happened.
Leave it to another California frickin' liberal-ass school to do something like this.
I was trying to think where this is at. I get this one.
Smitty's got something hot, folks.
Yeah. Brett,
ho.
Did you see what Brett sent?
No. I thought Robin joined the Navy last week. Ooh. Wow.
That's funny.
Yes, that was an assault claw hammer. So we're going to have to ban those claw hammers because, they're just jumping off the shelves, beating people in the head.
Yeah, there's going to be background checks and fingerprints and 3-day waiting periods for buy claw hammer. It's just stupid. Okay, this is from the New York Post. An elementary school principal in Nebraska, I was hoping it was going to be California again, was placed on leave after telling teachers to avoid decorating their classrooms with Christmas-themed ornaments so as to not offend those who don't celebrate the holiday. The principal at Manchester Elementary School, identified as Jennifer Sinclair, sent out a memo earlier this week with guidelines as to what is considered appropriate for classroom decorations and assignments.
I bet if you put up some freaking rainbow-colored paper and stuff up there, they'd take that.
It would probably be okay.
They?
Yeah, I bet they would. Teachers reportedly were told that generic winter-themed items such as sledding, scarves, and the frozen character of Olaf were acceptable. Decorations that include Santa, Christmas trees, reindeer, green and red items, and even candy canes, however, were not acceptable for the elementary
damn
school.
Candy canes, because if you turn them upside down, they look like a J for Jesus,
That's
baby.
where we're going. The candy canes were prohibited because Sinclair deemed them to have religious significance.
Oh, my gosh.
Historically, the shape is a J for Jesus. The red is for the blood of Christ, and white is a symbol of his resurrection, she reportedly wrote. And this would also include different colored candy bars. I feel uncomfortable that I have to get this specific, but for everyone's comfort, I will, Sinclair reportedly wrote in the memo. You know what?
You freaking snowflake.
Oh, my God.
I bet they put one of them new Air Force emblems up there that are painted in the rainbow colors. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Gosh darn it. I'm sorry, Brett. No, seriously. Thank you for your service. I do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. The Elkhorn School District told Fox News in a statement
Unicorn.
Elkhorn, pay attention.
I'm sorry.
The memo does not reflect the policy of Elkhorn Public Schools regarding holiday symbols in the school. The district's policy states that Christmas trees, Santa Claus, and Easter eggs and bunnies are considered to be secular seasonal symbols that may be displayed as teaching aids, provided they do not disrupt the instructional program for students. Sinclair was placed on administrative leave as of last Thursday morning. That's too bad.
He probably ate some of those chocolate-covered pellets that rabbit was leaving around.
Maybe. Hey, we got Dave Campbell out there, too. All right.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, how you doing, bud? I met the wife of a guy that you know from the military. She's in our VFW, bud. Her Hodge is the last name. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. So,
Okay, what else you got on your table over there?
well, you know how you don't hear a lot about the positive things that President Trump does? You know how it always seems to be silenced in the media?
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Remember some of the show we did here a while back where we showed President Trump back in the 90s when he wasn't deemed a racist because he wasn't the president, helping out Jesse Jackson in some poor African-American neighborhoods and things like that?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they were praising him back in the day.
Well,
weren't
sure they were. Now he's just a,
low-life racist.
yeah, misogynist and homophobe and something like that.
All kinds of folks.
But anyway, I got a report here and it's a guy talking about how, none of this is out there in the mainstream media. All you're hearing about is what's going on with Michael Cohen, Michael Flynn, Jamal Khashoggi's death over there, or whether or not Donald Trump will be impeached. But anyway, this guy says, for instance, you basically had no actively search to find any mention of the Opportunity and Revitalization Council. It's a $100 billion initiative to deliver growth in urban communities. So with creation of today's council, the resources of the whole federal government will be leveraged to rebuild low-income and impoverished neighborhoods that have been ignored by Washington in the past years. The president said at a Wednesday event in the Roosevelt Room, our goal is to ensure that America's great new prosperity is broadly shared by all of our citizens. Our country is doing better than ever, economy, and we are able to do that. The council will be led by Ben Carson, one of our favorites.
Good.
Head of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The nation's unemployment, according to Mr. Carson, is at a 49-year low. The unemployment rate, jobless rates among African Americans are down to a low of 5.9%. Wonder why that wasn't during the Obama administration. Wages on the rise, Carson said. While we can be proud of all these achievements, one challenge has remained. There are still communities in our country that have seen little to no new investment in generations. And he's right. According to the Baltimore Sun, a new program will offer breaks on capital gains taxes to investors in distressed zones. Obviously, a huge boost to the predominantly black and minority neighborhoods, which are still lagging in indicators like wage growth. The opportunity zones, Carson said, are home to approximately 35 million Americans. The Department of the Treasury estimates that the opportunity zone legislation could attract over $100 billion in private investment, which will go a long way to spur jobs and economic growth. Well, heck yeah, it will. $100 billion, that would spur my economic growth. Pastor Dante Hickman, who the president said is helping lead in the groundbreaking project in the newly designated Opportunity Zone, hailed the initiative. He's a pastor of the Southern Baptist Church, and through the Mary Harvin Transformation Center Community Development Corporation, say that 3 times, in partnership with other faith-based stakeholders, institutions, developed the East Baltimore Revitalization Plan, addressing the development needs of over 100 acres just north of Johns Hopkins University. But again, you never hear or see any of this. They said the New York Times did a piece about this freaking big on it, but jeez Louise,
Ain't that something?
It is something, and it's bull crap. Hey, if the guy does something wrong, we're going to bash him ourselves. We don't give a crap. But if he does something good, bring it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quit trying to frickin' just drag this guy through the mud all the damn time.
Because trust me, when our president speaks, a lot of times he just acts like a moron.
Well,
so,
a lot
got
of times
his policies seem to be working well. So
I don't have a problem with it.
His policies? Well, he needs to stay off Twitter.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We've talked about that before. You know, I mean, I would like to see a little bit more of a presidential type act going on, but I mean, at the same time, you don't want to let these freaking guys just run roughshod over you like they're trying to do.
Right. And that's his way of going around the media. So
sure.
All right. Hey, speaking of hypocrisy, this Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe on MSNBC.
You know those 2 idiots are married, right?
Well, they deserve each other.
Stupidity attracts, I guess.
Yeah. So they were talking about Mike Pompeo and this killing of Khashoggi. And she's got some pretty bad stuff to say. Let's take a quick look. Dick Durbin.
They wouldn't say anything like that.
Yeah.
They're politically correct.
Well, watch this. We're going to run a little clip. Dick Durbin's on here first, one of our favorite Illinois people.
Piece of slime.
Let's take a look at this because we got a lot to say about this.
Of succession in this monarchy in Saudi Arabia. I think that is at the heart of the position being taken by Secretary Pompeo. He is worrisome that if all trails lead to the Crown Prince, there could be a change of power in Saudi Arabia, and we're not certain which direction to be headed to. It is that uncertainty that probably leads him to this conclusion, a conclusion that is not supported by the intelligence evidence from the very agency that he used to head just weeks ago.
So, Joe, I have to ask, because I don't think I can't think of anyone here who could put it more clearly than you. I understand that Donald Trump doesn't care. Heilman makes a good point. He doesn't care. But why doesn't Mike Pompeo care right now? Are the pathetic deflections that we just heard when he appeared on Fox and Friends, is that a patriot speaking? Or a wannabe dictator's butt boy? And
whoa, there we go.
Serious, I'm asking, are these the words of a patriot?
He's debased himself. He once again has undercut the conclusions of our intel
let's get on
community.
that one, John.
Butt boy, Mishka, you can't say something like that.
A dictator's butt boy is what she said. What do you think would happen if Trump or one of his people said something like that?
Oh, what wouldn't happen if any conservative Republican would say something like that?
Absolutely.
We can't say things like that. It's obvious they can, but
Well, yeah, it's it's always you've always been told it's not what you say, it's how you say it, which is true to a big extent. But also now we've got the place where it's not. It depends on who says it on if it's okay. But she might
absolutely.
Yeah, well, this is a bunch of crap. Now she comes out with the second statement. Let's take a look at this.
I want to get to something first. I was off
Sure you
yesterday
do,
for a
Mishka.
family matter, as you mentioned, but I wanted to address a term that I used on this show on Wednesday that was vulgar.
Butt boy.
I knew it right away, and I tweeted that it was a terrible choice of words and that I was sorry. But please allow me to say this face to face.
Sure.
The term is crass and offensive, and I apologize to everyone, especially the LGBTQ community.
Especially them, yeah.
Especially
and to my
them.
colleagues for using it. It was a mistake. My father would have found it so unbecoming and disrespectful, and
I
he
find
would
you
have told me,
unbecoming.
I will work hard to be better. But I just wanted to say on camera, looking the viewer straight in the eye, I am really, really sorry.
Sure you
Oh,
are.
there we go. That's
Isn't
that's
it
good.
customary?
She's really, really sorry.
Say
but
with
you
me,
know what?
Steve. Butt boy.
She didn't apologize to Pompeo. Never mentioned his name once. That's who she
No.
was talking about. The LGBTQL, whatever the hell they are. She apologized to them, and I don't know why.
Why does she think that that's offensive to them?
I don't.
Isn't that stereotyping?
That's
No,
bullshit.
now she needs to apologize for that.
Yeah.
You
Why not?
stereotypical.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
say it.
I don't. It just baffles me how she can come out and say, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry." Like, we don't believe you.
No,
just
for
shut up.
crying
Go
out
lay down.
loud.
You said what you actually thought. You got called out on. Now, anybody else would have been fired for it. Let's look at Megyn Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
When she started talking about dressing up like Diana Ross. And there was a nurse and her boyfriend in Kansas City, Missouri that dressed up as Beyonce and Jay-Z, and she was fired from nursing staff. So
Again, there's always that double standard, though. The things that the left does is okay, but the things on the right, no, you can't do that stuff. No, that's racist, that's homophobic, that's misogynistic.
But I've got another one.
Oh boy.
Let's tell you, this is no bit of good. We played this a few months ago. Another big liberal coming out here and saying something really stupid, and she never did apologize for it. Let's take a look at this.
And I don't want to go around
my
insulting.
God.
There's your favorite
people.
person,
I don't
Brett.
want
Oh my
to
gosh.
paint with a broad brush. Every immigrant is this. Every African American is that. Every other person with different religious beliefs or whatever. That's childish.
What do you think of Cory Booker's? And you didn't comment on him, and you feel free.
Oh, I adore
What do
him.
you think about him saying "kick them in the shins"? Essentially, start to get to that kind of political.
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't.
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh,
Okay.
well done. Hillary.
Yeah, I was.
Uh-huh.
I was paid by Mark Zuckerberg to do
Sure,
that.
okay, that's enough for
Sure
her.
was.
That's
Good
enough for her.
night.
And the crowd goes wild when she says something. If Trump or one of his people would have said something stupid like that, oh my God.
Well, how about the time she was sitting eating, I think it was chicken, with a couple of African Americans, and she goes, "Well, let me get out my bottle of hot sauce. I always carry it around with me."
Yeah.
You know what she's implying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah, but it's okay for the people on the left to act,
sure it is.
be an ass like that. It's so hypocritical. It just really pisses me off.
Damn it. Butt boy.
Yeah. Hey, we got Lloyd DeJeans, Kevin Perry out there. All right. You betcha.
Hello, freaks.
You betcha,
Yes,
David.
Killary. Killary is her name, Mr.
David
Stoker.
Arns. Okay. What else you got over there, mister?
Well, I tell you, they keep coming up with convenient ways of getting drugs around here. Border Patrol agents have seized 129 pounds of narcotics worth $1.4 million. Arrested 2 people after the agents spotted a suspicious aircraft. Better get my reindeer straight.
Oh, boy.
Landing just north of Calexico, according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. This is an ultralight flying plane with no lights on it. Incident occurred shortly after midnight Sunday when the agents with the El Centro Sector Border Patrol noticed an ultralight aircraft flying over the border without its lights on. The plane descended just north of Calexico, which is near the U.S.-Mexico border. Shortly after landing, the aircraft took off again. Agents found where the plane landed in Imperial County discovered 2 brown zippered bags lying under heavy brush along with a metallic cage and a bicycle. I wonder what's in those bags. They also found 2 people that they think were in the area to pick up the packages and took them into custody. Flip my page. Officials said the bags were carrying 60 duct tape bundles containing a white powdery substance that tested positive for the characteristics of methamphetamine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The ultralight aircraft not only pose a threat to legitimate air traffic in the vicinity, but also national security. Chief Patrol Agent Gloria Chavez said these aircrafts are able to carry small payloads of dangerous cargo or dangerous people. 2 people taken into custody were turned over to the DEA for further investigation, but you know, it continues to happen down there along the border.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Speaking of the border.
No, Dave, I don't want to just kiss her.
Oh, God, that's bad. That's bad.
Number one, she's just like, you know, butt ugly. But she's probably got poison lipstick on her, something like that.
Either intended for a conservative or Bill, one or the other. In Boston, ex-judges end immigration arrests at courthouses. Dozens of retired state and federal judges called Wednesday on U.S. immigration officials to stop making arrests at courthouses of people suspected of being in the country illegally, saying immigrants should be free to visit halls of justice without fearing they will be detained.
Oh, sure
really?
They are. Yeah,
really?
Sure.
Nearly 70 former judges from 23 states said in a letter to acting U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director that the courthouses arrests are disrupting the criminal justice system. The judges are urging to add courthouses to the list of so-called sensitive locations that are generally free from immigration enforcement, like schools and places of worship. That's a bunch of crap. They're treating us like they're shooting over feed or something. But you know,
I don't mind the guys with the backpacks and and the thick bellies that might be harboring a explosive belt.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap. I mean, if they're here illegally, they're illegal. If they catch them in a courthouse, what's the difference between there or any place else? What they call it? Let me see what they called it here. Was it sensitive?
Sensitive areas or something.
Sensitive locations.
Sensitive locations.
Like schools and places of worship. Sensitive locations. Yeah. Sensitive. Yeah, really.
So if you just see somebody hanging around acting suspicious and maybe has a backpack or something like that, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't feel, just because they might be here illegally. Hey, we got David Holtz and Deborah Holmes Smith out there. Can you believe that?
Oh, my gosh.
She must have punched the wrong button on her phone.
You're such a celebrity. Even your wife watches you now.
She hit a wrong button or something.
Speaking of, like, maybe Islamist terrorists and stuff like that, alleged Islamist terrorist recruiter and extremist preacher from Germany has now been allowed to settle in Leicester, England.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again.
He's now an Islamist terror recruiter and extremist preacher from Germany. Apparently, Merkel finally kicked him out or something.
Good.
He's been allowed to settle in Leicester, England.
Wow.
Which is not a shocker.
No, it's
Bahrain Belkade, 41, was given leave to remain in the United Kingdom by authorities after returning to Europe from Syria. Yeah, and has been preaching his brand of radical Islam on the streets of East Midlands City. The German government accused him of leading an organization called Die Wahre Religion, the True Religion, which was proscribed in November 2016 after being linked to the radicalization of as many as 140 people who volunteered to fight with terror groups linked to the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. But apparently the United Kingdom just isn't frickin' learning about all these people that they're letting come in over there. You know, how many acid attacks and public rapes do you have to frickin' have in a place before you will wise up and start kicking these freaks out?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, it's just like the people out in front of the courthouse. Oh, well, you can't touch them. It's a sensitive area. Well, piss on that. If you're talking about frickin' security, you got to take that. You can't take that with just a frickin' grain of salt. You got to frickin' slam dunk it or something.
No.
Same to you out there, Crafty. Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. Very Merry Christmas.
That's why I got the hat.
Yeah.
I couldn't get.
Aren't you dashing with that?
I'm going to dress Smitty up as
I'm
an
not going
elf.
to dress up for you. No, it's not going to happen. Let's see. Migrants marched to the U.S. consulate in Tijuana, Mexico, and demanded to be let into the United States.
Oh, yeah.
They also issued a letter with a list of demands.
Really?
Really? A list of demands?
You're trying to illegally get into our country, but you have a list of demands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Among the demands, they were that either they be let into the U.S. or the U.S. give them $50,000 each to go home. They gave the U.S. 72 hours to respond to their
Oh,
demands.
my.
Wouldn't take that long for my response, I'm afraid.
We'll give you 50,000 freaking pesos. How about that?
Alfonso Guerrero, a man who organized the march, said,
Alfonso
it may,
Ribeiro.
may seem like a lot of money to you, but it's a small sum compared to everything the United States has stolen from the Honduras. Like you've got a lot. If there's so much good stuff in Honduras, why are you trying to get to our country? I mean, I'm pretty sure we didn't steal it all.
No.
Just because you say we stole it doesn't mean that that's what happened. I mean, there's due process, remember? This guy has lived in Mexico since 1987 after fleeing Honduras in the wake of a bombing that wounded 6 soldiers. This guy was suspected in planning of the bomb in a Chinese restaurant, but received asylum from Mexico, whose government described the suspected terrorist as a freedom fighter. An appropriations bill passed by Congress in December of 87 included Congress's findings that the bomb was directed at American soldiers and did, in fact, wound American soldiers and an American contractor. This guy...
We'll pay you for that.
Yeah, no kidding. This guy has posted on Facebook about his role in organizing the immigrants in Mexico, which he is open about, but the accusations against him from 87, which he denies. While he denies being involved in the bombing, he admitted in a Facebook post that he was, in fact, a member of the Popular Revolutionary Forces. The group was involved in a plane hijacking 82, which took hostages, including 8 Americans. So this guy's got a real track record here.
Oh, yeah, we'll pay you for that, bud.
Yeah, so you're going to come to our border and yell at us and give us 72 hours to respond to your demands, which is either let us in or give us $50,000 each? Are you stupid?
Maybe we just need to do what Reagan did to Muammar Gaddafi there one time.
Yeah.
Send a little missile down
Mm-hmm. Sure, handle that. There's $50,000 worth of missile.
Speaking of the Mexico area, I don't know about you, but Hosie's in the house, baby.
Got Steve Sweeten out there, too.
I am not one who will go down to Cancun or any place like that and spend my money down there because, in my opinion, the cartels are running the damn places anyway. But apparently, if you're thinking about going to Cancun, you might want to just go somewhere else. Apparently, there are lots of killings going on down there. Formerly peaceful Cancun continues to experience shocking levels of cartel violence. At least 8 individuals were murdered over the past weekend.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
What, do they think they're in Chicago?
Apparently so. The number of homicides registered in Cancun officially reached at least 525 in 2018, smashing the previous all-time record set in 2017 at 227. During the recent 48-hour period, at least 5 were murdered from Friday night to Saturday night, with an additional 3 early Sunday morning. One death was registered in a parking lot of the Costco store on Cabal Avenue near a popular community, now home to many Americans. Initial reports indicate that an unidentified male was loading his car with groceries when he was attacked by several gunmen waiting for him. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene with multiple wounds. On Sunday, a body wrapped in a garbage bag was discovered at approximately 7:20 a.m. Behind a convenience store. The unknown male had a piece of cable wrapped around his neck and limbs, displaying signs of torture. You're kidding. An hour later, a local prison guard was mortally wounded by 2 gunmen on a motorcycle. He was driving home from work. A victim died after being transported to hospital. The gunmen were actually later arrested. Local homicide cases per year, back to 2014, there was 21. 2015, there was 37. 2016, there's 61. 2017, 227. And now,
holy cow.
Yeah. Big freaking jump here. And now in 2018, there's been 525 as of December 16th.
It really is like Chicago.
Yeah. I have no desire to go down there and take a vacation. A lot of people like it, and if that's what they want to do, that's fantastic. But
better take your own weapon with you.
Yeah, right.
I've got Penny Ruiz out there this evening, too.
What?
Yeah.
Hello, boss. Former boss.
This is from Seattle University.
Oh, boy.
A student at Seattle University School of Law said Saturday that the institution's suspension of its externship program with Immigration and Customs Enforcement is over disagreement with President Trump's border policies. The program, which reportedly linked students with ICE's Northwestern Detention Center in Tacoma, Washington, was suspended after one student complained to the faculty and thereafter created an online petition. Thomas Reinhardt, a third-year student at the law school and campus reform correspondent, said Saturday that the move was disingenuous. It just seems to me that to be just a political maneuver because they disagree with the president's enforcement of the border policy. The school's externship program dictator Jill Dutton reportedly said in a statement that there's a possibility that placing a student in an ICE externship may force them to act unethically or unlawfully. What are you? So you're going to put them in a training program with law enforcement, right? And you think it's going to force these people to act unethically or unlawfully? You're an idiot. What the crap? You're placing them with law enforcement people. Oh, good job. Good job. Chucklehead.
Whoa, hey. Don't address the big guy with those slanderous words, bud. All right?
Yeah.
You won't get nothing but coal in your stocking. Deborah, coal in the stocking.
Probably. Reinhardt questioned why the school would want to limit student opportunities and said that some students are being shut out. We're not forcing students to extern with ICE, he said, but that opportunity should be available to students who want to pursue that path of law enforcement. Reinhardt stressed that ICE needs legal externs in order to assist in agents along the border. To me, it really is just a political maneuver by Seattle U, and it's just really unfortunate and honestly embarrassing as a student to have just another political decision made by this administration. So, hey, I'm glad this guy's standing up to him. And why you would not let somebody do an externship with law enforcement is beyond me. I mean, there's a lot of other places they could be going to other than law enforcement, but regardless of what you think of Trump's border policy, I mean, it's these people's lives. If they want to better their life with their training with the externship with ICE, let them go.
Absolutely.
Because it's not costing you anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of crap over there,
I
bud.
do.
You got more than I do. Go ahead.
Okay. Representative Liu from California.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Did you see this?
This is just another wonderful person who's trying to stifle free speech.
A California Democrat said that he would...
Wait, what'd you say?
California
Democrat. There you go. That's all you need to say. We're done. Show's over.
Okay. Well, you know what? With that being said, we'll just skip to the video. Here's a representative. I think it's Ted Lieu. Let's see.
Ted Lieu. That's his stupid name.
All right. Let's take a look at this. We'll see what he's got to say. Wow.
Okay. I want to ask you about something totally separate because you were in this Google hearing. Yes. The CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, testifying before your committee about a number of concerns. You took an opportunity to push back on Republican claims of bias in Google searches. In the middle of this hearing, you Googled Republican Steve Scalise. You Googled, after that, Republican Steve King to show that there were favorable stories, including from conservative outlets about Scalise, negative coverage of King, and you made the point, essentially, that's not because of a Google algorithm, it's because of what these members do and say. I will say it was clever, it caught some attention, but I wonder, have you thought that maybe you and other Democrats have missed opportunities to use your time to press Google's CEO at a time when these large tech companies are struggling to manage content, perpetuating conspiracy theories? They're so vulnerable to outside interference. Isn't that a focus that could have been a missed opportunity?
So it's a very good point you make. I would love if I could have more than 5 minutes to question witnesses. Unfortunately, I don't get that opportunity. However, I would love to be able to regulate the content of speech.
What?
The First Amendment prevents me from doing so.
Thank God.
And that's simply a function of the First Amendment. But I think over the long run, it's better.
Damn right, it's a function of the First Amendment,
the content of speech. I would urge these private sector companies to regulate it better themselves. But it's really nothing that I believe government can do. And so that's been my position all along.
Okay, that's good, John.
No, but I bet he believes it's something the government should do.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? The reason he says that in the long run it's better that the government doesn't do that because he realizes at some point in time they're not going to be in the majority.
Yeah.
So that they're the conservatives. I'm assuming he's a Democrat. I'm going to assume
from
he's
California.
A liberal. Assuming he's a liberal, which I'm pretty safe assumption, is that at some point in time they're going to lose power, and then the other side's going to limit their free speech if this is going to be allowed. But he says, that pesky First Amendment prevents me from doing it.
Gosh.
That's too, you know what? Our forefathers were so flippin' smart. It's unbelievable how the things they wrote down over 200 and some odd years ago.
Oh, but that Constitution is outdated. We need to revise that damn thing.
Yeah. You know what? If he thinks speech needs to be regulated like that, he should, being he's a leader, he should lead by example and shut up.
Hey, I like that in you.
I mean, seriously. And thank God for our founding fathers who wrote our Constitution.
Well, absolutely.
My God.
And thank God for people like you and I who are standing up to this bull crap and everybody out there in Unleashed Opinion Land.
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous. You know? I mean, these freaking liberal red-breasted lake freaking loons, you know? Just think if you had more of them running the freaking country, which...
Oh, my God, yes.
You know, with that crazy-ass Alexandria Cortez and those freaking socialist Democrats getting in there, you better watch it because you might.
Oh, boy. Speaking of which...
That triggered Steve in another article here, folks.
Let's go to Venezuela.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, I was going to print that one. Good job.
In Venezuela,
on a roll, folks.
As Venezuela continues to crumble under socialist dictatorship of President Nicolas Maduro.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
You mean things aren't good under socialist dictators?
I know. Can you?
I can't imagine.
These people like this Cortez gal and Bernie Sanders need to pay attention to what's that Elizabeth Warren. She don't know what the hell she is.
You mean these guys that are making all kinds of money under capitalism?
Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah. Those are the ones.
I got you.
Some are expressing words of warning and resentment against a 6-year-old gun control bill that strips citizens of their weapons.
Oh, you're kidding. Geez, because you can't fight back, right? Against a tyrannical government?
Don't.
I'm getting ahead of you.
Yeah.
See, I don't even need papers, Steve.
That's because you read the article.
I've got a lot of gray matter up here, bud.
It
ain't working, but I've got a lot of
some
gray
type of matter up there. Guns would have served as a vital pillar to remaining a free people, or at least able to put up a fight. Javier Venegas, 28, a Venezuelan teacher of English. That confuses me. Now exiled in Ecuador, told the Fox News. He said the government security forces at the beginning of this debacle knew they had no real opposition in their force. Once things were this bad, it was clear a declaration of war against unarmed population. Under the direction of then-President Hugo Chavez, the Venezuelan National Assembly in 2012 enacted the Control of Arms, Munition, and Disarmament Law with the explicit aim to disarm all citizens. The law took effect in 2013 with only minimal pushback from some pro-democracy opposition figures, banned the legal commercial sale of guns and ammunition to all except government entities.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that what some of our politicians are saying?
Yes, it is. That's exactly what they're saying. Chavez initially ran a months-long amnesty program encouraging Venezuelans to trade in their arms for electrical goods. Do they even have electricity running down there right now?
When you have a socialist frickin' dictatorship down there and you're running your economy into the frickin' ground, you can do things like that because people need food, they need electricity and stuff like that, you know?
That year, there was only 37 recorded voluntary gun surrenders, while the majority of seizures, more than 12,500, were by force.
Yeah, imagine that.
Go figure. In 2014, with Maduro at the helm following Chavez's death, but carrying through a socialist Chavista policies, the government invested more than $47 million in enforcing the gun ban, which has since included grandiose displays of public weapons demolitions in town squares. A former gun store owner inside Venezuela told Fox News he's now been regulated selling fishing supplies since the ban. Said he can't sell any type of weaponry, even a slingshot, and underscored that even BB ammunition and air guns are only issued to police and military officers. Back to you cannot sell munitions or guns to anybody except governmental entities. The punishment for illicit carrying of or selling weapons is now 20 years behind bars. Prior to the 2012 reform, there were only about 8 gun stores in the entire country, and the process of obtaining a legal permit to own and carry a weapon was plagued by long wait lines, high cost, and bribery to make the process swifter, and one department allowed to issue license, which operated under the umbrella of Ministry of Defense. Now, does this sound kind of familiar? To get a permit, there's long lines and high cost. Sounds kind of familiar.
Sounds like Obamacare.
Venezuelans didn't care enough about it. The idea of having the means to protect your home was seen as only needed out in the fields. People never would have believed they needed to defend themselves against the government, this guy explains. Venezuelans evolved to always hope that their government would be non-tyrannical, non-violator of human rights, and would always have good enough control of criminality.
You can hope all you want, but
it didn't happen.
No.
This is not a secret. I mean, and here again, thank our founding fathers again for the Second Amendment, because we would have the same thing here, because you see these clowns out in Washington and Springfield and elsewhere saying you don't need weapons, only the police and my security force need weapons.
Sure.
You don't have any you don't need the means to defend yourself just because criminals are bashing your head in with claw hammers and or stealing guns and shooting you with those.
Assault hammers. Now, these guys can't even have weapons to go out and maybe hunt for freaking food because their economy is so damn bad down there that, a jug of milk costs you $500 freaking dollars or whatever they spend down there.
Yeah, it's
they've done this. Look at England. They don't have weapons.
Yep.
And a lot of them hate that. Not Australia. Yeah, Australia. Didn't they have a voluntary hand in with their freaking guns?
They called it voluntary.
Damn freaking kangaroo loving. It's freaking ridiculous. Don't give up your freaking rights, people.
No.
And if you don't think that they won't try it in the United States, you better think again, because there's a lot of them out there that want to. So don't give up the freaking fight. I guarantee you.
Pay attention, because they're out there.
You're damn right they're out there.
I think we got Chris Davis tuned in too.
Well, I've got myself all freaking worked out.
I seen that.
Yeah, Dave Arn says, I'll keep my republic. You damn right this is a republic.
You betcha. You betcha.
It's almost time to go down to the Republic of Texas. Hey, we've got media warned Democrats not to nominate white guys in 2020.
What?
Yeah, the establishment...
You can't nominate a white guy?
Yeah, apparently not. The establishment media are warning Democrats that there will be a racial and gender test in 2020 and hell to pay if the party nominates white males. Apparently, the announcer over at the Morbidly Stupid Nothing But Crap Network, Joey Reid, says Democrats cannot run two white guys. The idea that you have Joe Biden talking to Beto O'Rourke saying maybe they could be a ticket, I personally find it hard to understand how you get the requisite turnout among voters of color if it's two white male ticket. I mean, women are going to be outraged if there's not a woman on the ticket, and voters of color are going to say, well, then why are we participating? Why don't you nominate people with some frickin' sense? I'm not saying African Americans don't have sense, because there's a lot of them out there that do. I mean, there's a lot on the Republican side that we were going to vote for.
Absolutely.
Before Trump even got in there.
So the media keeps calling out people for being racist and sexist, but what are they doing now?
Right.
Back to the hypocrisy again.
CNN, Van Jones, who is a communist.
Oh, boy.
He's upset that the poll shows three white guys topping the 2020 Democratic ticket. Former Vice President Joe Biden and Beto O'Rourke, who's a Democrat from Texas, and Bernie Sanders. Yeah, Bernie. Speaking with Senator Kristen Gillibrand, Jones asked, in a party as diverse as ours, does it worry you to see top three guys being white? And she goes, yeah. I inspire for our country to recognize the beauty of our diversity at some point in the future, and I hope someday we have a woman president. I hope more people of color not only aspire to win the presidency, but that's what makes America so extraordinary, that we are all of that, and we are everything, and I think a more inclusive America is stronger. Okay, yeah, whatever, but come on, you guys can't say,
you can't.
We would be freaking raked over the coals if we said something like
absolutely. This. Back to the hypocrisy thing again.
Absolutely.
It's unreal.
And I don't see anybody on the Democratic side. Democratic Party has been the party of racism for how long? Forever.
As long as I can remember.
Of course, you got these liberal loons out there saying the party's flipped. Jeez Louise. The only thing that's flipped is your freaking brain housings. But, no, I'm sorry. This is just absolutely crazy. Of course, you are dealing with Joey Reid and the Morbidly Stupid Nothing But Crap Network.
Yeah. Well, we expect that from them. Let's see where we go. Oh.
Yeah, you're right. Poor old Democrats are pulling out all the corks to get something to go their way. Yeah, no kidding. Thank you, Mr. Stoker. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Mr. Stoker, out there on the birth of your child. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Make sure you rub your wife's feet tonight.
Oh. Where do we want to go to next?
I don't know. Geez, you got like 6 weeks of coverage over there.
I know
for
it.
us.
I know it. Suburban mayors joined Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel to ask Illinois lawmakers to raise the state's gas tax by 20 to 30 cents a gallon. A proposal that could make Illinois' motor fuel tax the highest in the nation and ensure that per gallon taxes increase yearly with the rate of inflation. That is, oh my God. Outgoing Mayor Emanuel joined other mayors from suburban Chicago on Tuesday to push the General Assembly should pass a gas tax hike in January. He said the cost and use of roads have increased while funding to maintain them has been stagnant. We're calling on lawmakers when they convene starting in January to start work on a number of issues that have not been addressed for several years. Calling for an increase of the gas tax by 20 to 30 cents. He said, if you look at the low range of the 20 to 30 cents, we're talking about the 20 cents would reflect just inflation, he says. The money Emanuel said would go to fund the infrastructure bill. Governor-elect J.B. Pritzker has said the state needs a new transportation funding bill. But, he says, okay, this money is supposed to go to this project. What happened with the lottery money that was supposed to go to... Oh, it didn't make it there, did it?
You're kidding. Now, didn't maybe you're going to say this, but didn't Butt Boy also say here just a few days ago that they wanted to legalize marijuana up there and have like government run casinos? Got
it.
Okay.
And I got some. Okay, you've covered that a little bit, but we'll get to California here because we're running out of time. So yeah, let's see. We've talked about all the options that are available to us and haven't eliminated any of those options at the moment, says Pritzker, our new governor. So Illinois has the 10th highest gas tax in the nation, according to Nonprofit Tax Foundation. A 30-cent hike would make Illinois' total gas tax the highest in the nation. Go figure.
Go figure.
Illinois' total average tax burden of a gallon of fuel is 37.32 cents, according to figures from American Petroleum Institute. At the proposed 67.32 cents per gallon, Illinois' taxes would be higher than Pennsylvania's average of 58.7 per gallon, the highest in the nation. Okay, I'll skip that article. We've already talked about Emanuel talking about legalizing pot and putting
Sorry,
more
I didn't mean to
casinos.
throw a kink in your arm.
No, that's
over
okay
there.
because we're running out of time anyway.
Well, then speed it up.
I'm working on it. If you go.
Butt boy.
I thought you were going to be a cuddlist. You make any money at that? Because I'll give you $1
I'm out of
not
Care
to
Bears.
cuddle me. Yeah. So they were talking about legalizing pot and opening more casinos. The casino thing, and legalizing pot. Listen to Paul Harvey and If I Were the Devil.
Oh boy,
it's very, very good ones from 1966,
65.
something. Yeah, somewhere in that area. But he
It's
had
almost
nailed.
it's prophetic, basically, is what it is.
It's pretty good. Anyway, here's a proposal filed Sunday to the Public Utilities Commission of California could result in the state's residents paying a tax on text messaging.
Oh yeah. That's wonderful.
A proposal which could be heard by Commissioner Carla J. Peterman as early as Thursday suggests text message services revenues could be subject to public purpose program surcharges and user fees. The state believes collecting a tax on text messaging is needed to provide the necessary revenue to the public purpose program, to maintain basic wireless services for low-income residents. In other words, the tax is designed to help support low-cost cell services for those of lower income tax brackets.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
how you going to do that?
You're going to
and
tax
the people who are going to are poor, you're going to tax the crap out of them.
Yeah. So, and this guy, this is a dumb idea, said Jim Wonderman, president of the Bay Area Council, business-sponsored advocacy group, told the San Jose Mercury News. This is how conversations take place in this day and age, and it's almost like saying there'd be a tax on conversations we have. Bay Area Council, California Chamber of Commerce, and Silicon Valley Leadership estimated the new charges would generate about $44.5 million per year. According to California Public Utilities Commission report, the public purpose program budget, Jesus, I'm having trouble with that, has climbed from $670 million in 2011 to $998 million last year. But telecommunications revenues that fund the program have decreased from $16.5 billion in 2011 to $11.3 billion in 2017. Okay, so they're talking about taxing your text messages. I mean, because I thought, if you remember a while back, that the new incoming governor in California was going to give free health care to all the illegals because they had a surplus of billions and billions of dollars. But now they want to tax text messages. because they don't have money for these funds.
Well,
but go ahead.
Go ahead. You might be leading up to something that Stoker just said here.
California regulators have canceled the plan to charge a fee for text messaging on mobile phones. The California Public Utilities Commission reversed course after Federal Communications Commission ruled last week, classified text messaging as an information service, not a telecommunication service.
He's way ahead of us, Stoke. He's way ahead of us, bud. You know.
Regulators announced Friday that CPUC Commissioner Carla Peterman withdrew the text proposal in light of the FCC's action Wednesday. Wireless industry administrators opposed the plan. No kidding. I'll bet they did.
There's a well-oiled machine between those ears, Stoke. A well-oiled machine.
There's something there, I'll tell you. I'm not real sure what it is.
Hey, look, you're actually watching. Steve Smith is watching.
Oh, it's got that on there?
Yeah.
Oh, super.
You're watching yourself. Watching yourself.
Yeah. Whatever. Oh, I got one more thing to hit before we get out of here.
You ain't got one more. You got like 30 more things over there.
Well, I know, but hey, we got Tanya Unlin out there this evening too. All right. This is a bad news thing here.
We don't like bad news.
No. And I know one person's going to be really, really disappointed about this one. Rolling Thunder's annual roaring parade through the streets of the nation's capital is coming to an end. Group organizers said that this year's planned motorcycle ride in May is expected to draw more than 1 million riders and spectators to the National Mall. Will be the last time the large-scale demonstration is held, citing cost concerns. The event has become a fixture of Memorial Day commemoration in Washington, D.C. for more than 30 years, drawing attention to military members still missing in action. But this demonstration has become a victim of its own success. Vice President of Rolling Thunder said costs for security and cleanup of the event have swelled to more than $200,000, an expense the group cannot continue to sustain. It really has exploded to beyond what we can support, he told Military Times. These costs didn't exist 10 years ago. This guy says the size of the crowd both participating and watching have prompted additional security concerns at the Pentagon, where the annual ride typically starts, and it's prompted several new costs and conflicts with local officials. We still have 90 chapters in 33 states, and we're going to help them coordinate their own rides on a smaller scale. The group is not going under, and our message is not going away. We're just not doing the ride in Washington, D.C. anymore, which that's...
Apparently, the Pentagon was charging, if I see my thing correct, $60,000 for parking.
Holy cow. You know...
I'm hopeful there's going to be some donors step up and take care of some business here.
Well, that could be, and I hope you're right. But Bob Smith and I, my oldest son, were out there a couple of years ago, and these bikes ride through there for like 3 hours. And you have a Marine out there. And we played videos of saluting the whole time.
Yeah, remember that one guy that was injured?
Yeah, and what has he had, a broken hand or something?
Something like that.
And when we were out there, it was pretty warm, and that guy stood out there the whole time saluting. And the other thing we noticed, we went to that parking lot there at the Pentagon, and when those all the people left, and that, trust me, it's a huge parking lot. And you look out over this thing after all the bikes were gone, there wasn't any trash in that parking lot. There was no trash in the parking lot.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
They're talking about trash concerns. It wasn't at the Pentagon.
Trash concerns. The only trash concerns is when you have these freaking liberal Occupy Wall Street freaks out there and this Antifa crap. That's where you have your freaking trouble at.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I can only speak for the time we were there. But when those bikes pulled out of there wasn't any trash in that Pentagon parking lot. And that thing is huge.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Sure it is.
Folks, we're out of time already. I still got a lot of articles left to cover.
But apparently we're not going to be here.
No, next 2 weeks we're not going to be here.
Next couple of weeks.
The Christmas holidays.
Christmas holidays, capital CHRIST.
As Santa said so. It's a good thing.
That's right. I seen in my Santa crystal ball.
You did.
Steve, you've not been a good boy this year. I'm telling you.
Oh, boy. It wasn't me.
Yeah, somebody did take him a bottle of water, Stoke. Absolutely. No bras, panties, or pink hats.
But anyway, maybe over the holidays we can get together and do a little Facebook Live.
Facebook Live or something
about 10 minutes out there or something like that, because we get pretty good responses on that. And the people out who are tuning in with us, man, we greatly appreciate the response. It really makes the show for us. It helps a bunch. So, and by chance, if we didn't give you a shout out, it wasn't intentional.
I think you forgot to shout out the phone number again, though.
Oh, well,
gosh, I tell you,
it's on the screen right there.
Well, you know,
you could have done it. Genius.
I don't have the paper.
Genius.
I don't have the paper.
It's right there.
So,
all right. Well, folks, we're out of time, unfortunately. Like I said, we're going to take a couple weeks off here with the holidays. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of people out there that don't have a Merry Christmas. They don't have the money. They don't have the place to live. They don't have the food. They don't even have the family or whatever. So take stock in what you've got, okay? Because we are very, very blessed. So Merry
Absolutely.
Christmas to everybody out there.
And we got Lindsay Wellenkamp out there. Eddie Darrell's watching too.
What up, Eddie?
Hey, be safe out there. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the holidays.
Absolutely. Just don't have too much enjoyment, if you know what I'm talking about. Your family should come first, okay? Don't get out there and get inebriated and have an accident. So take care of your family first.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up. Remember, if you love your country, you love your freedom, thank a veteran.
Absolutely.
Thanks for turning on and tuning in.
God bless America.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, everybody. Ho, ho, ho.